Remember this, learning English is not about reaching a finish line where suddenly you'll be perfect. It's about making English part of your journey, part of how you move through the world. Every day that you engage with English, even in the smallest way, you're succeeding. Every simple sentence you think or say, every word you notice and understand, every moment you let English touch your real life, these are victories. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Celebrate the small wins and don't worry about the days when it feels hard. The path of learning is never a straight line upward. It curves and dips and sometimes feels like you're going backward, but you're not. You're always moving forward, even when it doesn't feel like it. I'll be here with you in these episodes, sharing what I know, encouraging you, walking this path alongside you. You're not alone in this journey. There are millions of people all over the world learning English right now, feeling the same frustrations, experiencing the same small joys, working toward the same dream of communication and connection. And here's what I believe about you. I believe you can do this. I believe that with patience, with consistency, with kindness toward yourself, you can make English feel natural and comfortable. I believe that one day, maybe sooner than you think, you'll be having a conversation in English and you'll suddenly realize you're not translating anymore. You're just talking. You're just thinking. You're just being yourself, but in English. That day is coming. Keep taking the small steps. Keep saying the simple sentences. Keep letting English into your daily rhythm. And trust the process, even when you can't see the progress clearly yet. Hello and welcome back. This is James, and I'm really glad you're here with me today. If this is your first time listening, that's wonderful too. You don't need to have heard the previous episode to join us right now. We're all just walking this path together, learning English in a way that feels real and natural, not forced or stressful. Today, I want to talk with you about something that might seem simple at first, but it's actually one of the most powerful tools you have for learning English. We're going to explore how to build your English day. Not just study English, but actually live with it, the way you live with your first language. Because here's something I've noticed over many years of helping people learn English. The learners who make the most progress aren't always the ones who study the hardest. They're the ones who find ways to let English become part of their everyday rhythm, part of the texture of their normal life. Now I know what you might be thinking. You might be saying to yourself, James, I'm busy. I have work, I have family, I have responsibilities. I don't have time to add more studying to my day. And I want you to know that I hear you. I completely understand. But that's actually why this approach works so well. We're not going to talk about adding more hours to your study schedule. Instead, we're going to talk about finding English in the hours you already have, in the things you're already doing. Think about how you learned your first language. You didn't sit at a desk for 2 hours every evening studying grammar books. You learned it by living. You heard your parents talk about breakfast while you ate breakfast. You learned the words for tired and happy and hungry by feeling those things and hearing the words at the same moment. You learned to say, I'm going to the store by going to the store over and over until those words became automatic, as natural as breathing. That's the feeling we want to create with English. We want it to stop being something separate from your life, something you only do when you open your textbook. We want it to become woven into your actual days, so that learning English and living your life become the same thing. Understanding the power of daily language. Let me start by telling you about a student I once worked with. Her name was Maria, and she came to me feeling very frustrated. She said, James, I study English for 1 hour every night. I do my exercises. I memorize vocabulary lists. But when I try to speak English with someone, my mind goes blank. All those words I studied just disappear. I asked Maria to tell me about her study routine, and she showed me her notebook. It was full of beautiful grammar notes, lists of irregular verbs, pages of vocabulary words organized by topic. Everything was very neat and organized. But here's what I noticed. None of it was connected to her real life. She had memorized the word exhausted, but she always felt tired after work and never thought to say to herself in English, "I'm exhausted today." She knew the word grocery, but when she went to buy food, she thought about it entirely in her first language. Her English lived in her notebook, separate from the rest of her life. And that separation made it feel foreign, difficult, like something she had to force herself to remember. So we tried something different. I asked Maria to just notice her day. Not to study more, not to do more exercises, just to notice. When she woke up in the morning, I wanted her to notice how she felt. When she made her coffee, I wanted her to notice what she was doing. When she walked to work, I wanted her to notice what she saw. And then slowly, we started giving English words to those real moments. Within 3 months, Maria told me something that made me smile. She said, "I was walking home yesterday and I realized I was thinking in English. Not trying to think in English, not translating, just naturally thinking. I saw a beautiful sunset and I thought, wow, the sky is incredible today. And then I realized, wait, I just thought that in English without even trying." That's what we're aiming for. We're not trying to force English into your brain through pure willpower. We're trying to let it grow naturally, the way a plant grows when you give it the right conditions. The morning, starting your day in 2 languages. Let's begin with the morning, because morning is where your day takes shape. And I want to teach you something right away that will help you understand how English naturally flows through daily life. In English, we have many ways to talk about waking up. You can say, "I woke up," which is simple and direct. You can say, "I got up," which means you physically left your bed. You can say, "I woke up early," or "I slept in," which means you woke up late. You can say, "I'm still half asleep," which perfectly describes that foggy feeling when you first open your eyes and your mind isn't quite working yet. Notice how each of these phrases captures a slightly different feeling or situation. This is one of the beautiful things about English. It gives you many ways to describe the same basic idea, and each way carries its own flavor, its own emotional color. So here's a practice you can start tomorrow morning. When you first wake up, before you even get out of bed, say one sentence in English about how you feel. Just one sentence, spoken quietly to yourself or even just thought in your mind. You might say, "I'm still tired," or "I slept well last night," or "I don't want to get up yet," or "I'm ready for today." These are all simple sentences using words you probably already know. But by saying them at the actual moment you're experiencing the feeling, you're creating a connection. You're linking the English words to the real sensation, and that connection makes the words stick in your memory much more powerfully than any flashcard ever could. Now let's talk about your morning routine. In English, we use the word routine to describe the things we do regularly in the same order as part of our normal pattern. Your morning routine might include brushing your teeth, taking a shower, getting dressed, making breakfast, drinking coffee or tea. These are ordinary actions, things you do every single day without even thinking about them. And that's exactly why they're perfect for learning English. Because you do them without thinking, they become like a script, a pattern your body knows by heart. And when you add English words to that familiar pattern, the words become automatic too. Let me give you the vocabulary you need for a typical morning routine, and then I'll show you how to practice with it naturally. When you wake up, you get out of bed or get up. You might stretch your arms and body. You walk to the bathroom. In the bathroom, you might wash your face, brush your teeth, take a shower, or have a shower. After your shower, you dry off with a towel, you get dressed or put on your clothes. Then you go to the kitchen. You might make breakfast or have breakfast. You could boil water for tea, make coffee, toast bread, fry eggs, pour milk on your cereal. You might set the table if you're eating with your family, or you might grab a quick bite if you're in a hurry. That phrase, "grab a quick bite," is informal, something you'd say to a friend, and it means to eat something small and fast. Now here's how you practice with this vocabulary in a way that feels natural, not like studying. Tomorrow morning, I want you to narrate your routine in English, like you're describing a movie of your own life. You don't need to say every single action. Just pick a few key moments and describe them simply. As you get out of bed, think or whisper, "I'm getting up now." When you walk to the bathroom, "I'm going to brush my teeth." When you turn on the shower, "Time for a shower." When you make your coffee, "I'm making my morning coffee." These are present continuous sentences, which we use in English to talk about actions happening right now, in this moment. You might feel a little silly at first, talking to yourself in English. That's completely normal. But here's the thing. You already talk to yourself in your first language. Everyone does. We have this constant internal voice commenting on what we're doing, planning what comes next, reacting to what we see and feel. All we're doing is letting some of that internal conversation happen in English. And the beauty of this practice is that it's very forgiving. If you forget to do it, nothing bad happens. There's no pressure. The next day you can try again. And because your morning routine is always similar, you'll practice the same words over and over naturally, until one day you realize you're not thinking about it anymore. The English words just come. Time expressions, the rhythm of your day. Let me teach you something that English learners often find confusing, but once you understand it, it opens up so much natural conversation. I'm talking about how we express time in English, how we talk about when things happen. In English, we're very specific about time, and we have particular words and phrases that create the rhythm of how we talk about our day. Let me walk you through this carefully, because mastering these expressions will make you sound much more natural when you speak. First, there's the simple present tense for habits and routines. When you want to say something you do regularly, every day or every week, you use the simple present. I wake up at 7. I drink coffee in the morning. I go to work by bus. Notice these sentences are simple, direct, and they describe your regular pattern. But English also loves to be specific about frequency, about how often something happens. We have words that add detail to our routines. You can say always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. These words typically come before the main verb. I always have breakfast. I usually take the bus. I sometimes walk to work. I never skip breakfast. There's a rhythm to how these fit into conversation. When someone asks you, "Do you drink coffee?" you might answer, "Yes, I always drink coffee in the morning," or "Sometimes, but I usually prefer tea." See how those frequency words give a complete picture. They tell not just what you do, but how much it's part of your pattern. Now for talking about specific times, English uses particular prepositions, and these can be tricky because they don't always translate directly from other languages. We say at for clock times, at 8 o'clock, at noon, at midnight. We say in for longer periods, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, in 2025, in January. And we say on for specific days, on Monday, on the weekend, on Christmas Day. I know this might seem like a lot of small rules, but don't worry about memorizing them all at once. The way to learn these is by using them, by saying them out loud in real situations. When you set your alarm at night, think to yourself, "I need to wake up at 7." When you make plans, think, "I have a meeting on Thursday." Let the prepositions become automatic through repetition in real contexts. There's also something else I want you to notice about how we talk about time in English. We often use time expressions at the beginning or end of sentences to give context. In the morning, I usually feel energized. I feel more creative at night. On Mondays, I always have a team meeting. Starting your sentence with a time expression is a very natural pattern in English, and it helps the listener understand the time frame right away. Creating your personal English phrases. Now I want to share something with you that might change how you think about learning English. Many students believe they need to learn every word, every phrase, every possible way to say something. And when they realize how enormous English is, how many words and expressions exist, they feel overwhelmed. They think, I'll never learn all of this. But here's the truth. Native English speakers don't use every word in the English language either. Each person has their own personal collection of favorite phrases, expressions they use again and again, because those phrases fit their personality and their life. And that's exactly what you should do too. Instead of trying to learn everything, I want you to build your own personal collection of English phrases, sentences that are specifically useful for your actual life. Think about the things you say most often in your first language. What are the sentences that come out of your mouth multiple times every day? Maybe you often say something like, I'm running late when you're in a hurry, or I need to think about it when you're making a decision, or that sounds good when you're agreeing with someone, or I'm not sure when you don't know something, or let me check when someone asks you a question. These everyday phrases are gold for language learning. They're short, practical, and you'll use them constantly once you know them. So make a list of your most common sentences in your first language, and then find the English versions. Practice these specific phrases until they become automatic, until you can say them without thinking. Let me give you some examples of phrases that almost everyone uses regularly, phrases that are worth making automatic. For expressing needs, I need to, I have to, I should, I want to, I'd like to. For talking about time, I don't have time, I'm in a hurry, I'll be right back, it won't take long, I'll do it later. For making decisions, I'm not sure, let me think, I need to check, that works for me, I can't decide. For reactions, that's interesting, really, I see, that makes sense, I didn't know that. For daily activities, I'm about to, I'm on my way, I just finished, I'm working on, I'm dealing with. Practice these phrases in real situations. When you actually need to leave soon, say, I have to go in English. When you're actually uncertain about something, say, I'm not sure in English. The more you connect these phrases to real moments, real feelings, the more natural they become. Lunch and afternoon, the middle of your day. As your day continues into lunch and the afternoon, new opportunities appear for bringing English into your natural rhythm. And I want to talk with you about something important here, the difference between translating and thinking. Many learners spend their afternoon doing what I call translation gymnastics. Something happens, they think about it in their first language, then they try to translate that thought into English, word by word. This is exhausting, and it's also very slow. It's like trying to run while carrying a heavy backpack. But there's another way, a way that feels lighter and more natural. Instead of translating your existing thoughts, you can start thinking simple thoughts directly in English. Not all your thoughts, not complex ideas, just simple observations about what you're experiencing right now. Let me show you what I mean. You're eating lunch. Instead of thinking a complex thought in your first language and then translating it, just think something very simple directly in English. This tastes good. That's it. 3 words. You're not translating, you're just putting English words directly to your experience. You look out the window. It's raining. 2 words, direct thought, no translation needed. You feel tired after lunch. I'm tired. Again, 2 words directly expressing how you feel. These tiny thoughts might seem too simple to be useful, but they're actually incredibly powerful because they're teaching your brain a new pathway. Instead of experience right arrow first language right arrow translation right arrow English, you're creating experience right arrow English. You're cutting out the middle steps. And once you start doing this with simple thoughts, something amazing happens. Over time, the thoughts that come directly in English become longer and more complex naturally, without you forcing it. You go from "I'm tired" to "I'm tired today" to "I'm tired because I didn't sleep well last night." The complexity grows on its own, the way a child's language naturally becomes more sophisticated. The afternoon is also a perfect time to practice what I call mental commentary. As you work, as you do your tasks, give yourself a little commentary in English about what you're doing. Not out loud if you're around other people, just in your mind. I need to send this email. Let me finish this report. I should call back that client. Time for a coffee break. Almost done with this task. These are the kinds of thoughts that probably run through your mind anyway in your first language. We're just letting some of them happen in English instead. What's beautiful about this practice is that it uses vocabulary that's specific to your life, your job, your actual activities. If you work in an office, you'll naturally practice office vocabulary. If you work with your hands, you'll practice the words for your tools and actions. The language you learn is immediately relevant because it's describing what you're actually doing. Food and eating, a universal entry point. Let me talk about food for a moment, because food is one of the most natural entry points for learning any language. Everyone eats multiple times a day, and we all have opinions and feelings about food. This makes food vocabulary incredibly practical and also very easy to practice. In English, we have many words for eating, and each one has its own flavor, its own connotation. Eat is the basic word, neutral and simple, but we also say have with food. I had a sandwich for lunch. We say grab when we're eating quickly or informally. Let me grab some breakfast before we go. We say enjoy when the food is particularly good. I really enjoyed that meal. For drinking, we usually just say drink or have. I'm drinking coffee or I had some water. But we also have specific verbs for different beverages. We say sip when we drink slowly in small amounts. We say gulp when we drink quickly in large amounts, usually because we're very thirsty. The adjectives we use for food are wonderful for practice because they're so subjective, so personal. Food can be delicious, tasty, good, okay, bad, terrible, or disgusting. It can be sweet, salty, sour, bitter, or spicy. It can be hot or cold, fresh or stale, crispy or soft, juicy or dry. Here's a practice you can do every time you eat or drink something. Give it one English adjective, just one word describing how it tastes or feels. Delicious, too salty, perfect, cold, spicy. You're not writing a restaurant review, you're just making a simple observation in English. And if you want to practice more complex sentences, describe what you're eating. I'm having rice and vegetables for lunch. This coffee is too hot. I love this soup. These cookies are delicious. I need some water. Food is also wonderful for practicing preferences and expressing likes and dislikes, which is crucial vocabulary for conversations. In English, we say I like, I don't like, I love, I hate, I prefer. These are fundamental structures that you'll use constantly, not just with food but with everything in life. I like coffee but I don't like tea. I love spicy food. I hate mushrooms. I prefer fresh vegetables. Practice these structures with real foods you actually like or dislike. The personal connection makes them memorable. Evening, winding down with English. As evening arrives and your day begins to slow down, there's a different energy, a different kind of language that fits this time. Evening English tends to be more relaxed, more reflective. This is the time when you might talk about how your day went, what you did, how you feel now. In English, we often use the past tense in the evening to talk about the day that's ending. I had a good day. I was busy today. I finished my work early. I talked to my friend this afternoon. I didn't have time for lunch. These simple past tense sentences let you practice describing completed actions, things that already happened. This is also a perfect time for what I call mental review. a practice that strengthens both your memory and your English at the same time. As you're relaxing in the evening, maybe sitting on your couch or lying in bed, mentally review your day, but do it in English. You don't need to remember every detail. Just hit the highlights, the main events. Think simple sentences. I woke up early today. I went to work. I had a meeting. It was long. I came home. I cooked dinner. Notice these are very simple sentences, the kind a child might use. That's perfect. You're not writing literature. You're just describing your day. As you do this practice regularly, you'll notice something interesting. The sentences will naturally become more detailed because you'll remember more English words for what happened. I woke up early today because my alarm didn't go off. I went to work and traffic was terrible. I had a long meeting about the new project. After work, I came home and cooked pasta for dinner. See how the sentences expanded. You didn't force it. You just let it grow naturally as more words became available to you. Evening is also when many people watch television, watch videos online, listen to music, or read. And this is where I want to talk about something important: the difference between passive exposure and active engagement with English media. If you turn on an English movie and just let it play in the background while you look at your phone, you're getting passive exposure. This has some value. You're hearing the rhythm and sounds of English, but it's not very powerful for learning. Active engagement is different. Active engagement means you're paying attention, you're noticing things, you're trying to understand. It doesn't mean you understand every word. It means you're genuinely interested and focused. Let me give you a strategy for using entertainment as a learning tool without making it feel like homework. Choose something in English that genuinely interests you, something you actually want to watch, not something you think you should watch because it's educational. Maybe it's a cooking show if you love food. Maybe it's a sports highlight if you love sports. Maybe it's a video about travel or music or animals or technology. The interest has to be real. Now don't worry about understanding everything. Instead, practice something I call word catching. As you watch or listen, try to catch individual words you recognize. When you catch a word, just notice it. You don't need to write it down or study it. Just recognize it and feel good that you caught it. Oh, they said delicious. I know that word. They said tired. I understand that. This practice does something important. It trains your ear to pick words out of the stream of speech, and it gives you little moments of success and recognition that feel good. And feeling good while learning is incredibly important because positive emotions help your brain remember things. Nighttime, ending your day with reflection. Before you go to sleep, there's one more practice I want to offer you. It's simple, but students who do it consistently tell me it makes a huge difference in how natural English starts to feel. Every night before you turn off the lights, say 3 things in English. Just 3 simple sentences about your day. They can be about anything: how you feel, what you did, what you're thinking about, what you noticed, what you're grateful for. I'm tired tonight. Today was good. I learned something new. I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm happy right now. I need more sleep. Any 3 sentences that are true for you in that moment. This practice serves multiple purposes. First, it ends your day with English, which means you're going to sleep with those English words in your mind, and sleep actually helps consolidate memory and learning. Second, it's a moment of reflection, which is valuable for your mental well-being, not just your English. And third, it creates a gentle habit, something small and achievable that you can do every single night. The compound effect: how small actions create big changes. I want to talk with you about something that's easy to forget when you're in the middle of learning: the power of compound growth. You know what compound interest is in banking, how a little bit of money grows and grows over time. Language learning works the same way. Each small action you take in English, each simple sentence you think, each word you notice, each time you describe what you're doing. These don't feel significant in the moment. Saying, "I'm making coffee," while you make your coffee seems too small to matter. But it's not small. It's a deposit in your language bank and it's collecting interest. Because here's what happens. Today you say, "I'm making coffee," and it takes effort, it feels awkward, you have to think about it. Tomorrow you say it again and it's slightly easier. Next week you say it without really thinking. Next month you don't just say, "I'm making coffee." You naturally expand it. "I'm making coffee before work," or "I'm making coffee because I'm tired." The phrase becomes automatic, and once it's automatic, it frees up mental space for you to add more language. It's like learning to drive a car. At first, you have to think about every action. Press the clutch, shift the gear, check the mirror. But after enough practice, those actions become automatic, and then you can focus on navigating, on choosing your route, on having a conversation while you drive. That's what we're building with this approach of making English part of your day. We're making the basic phrases automatic so that you can keep building, keep adding, keep growing your ability without ever feeling overwhelmed. Creating your personal English environment. I want to give you one more powerful tool before we finish today. It's something I call creating your English environment, and it means intentionally surrounding yourself with English in small, manageable ways that fit your life. This doesn't mean you need to move to an English-speaking country. It means you make small changes to your personal environment that give you constant, gentle exposure to English. Let me give you specific, practical examples. Change your phone's language to English. Yes, this will be confusing for a few days. You'll have to figure out where things are again. But within a week, you'll know where everything is, and now you're reading English words dozens of times a day as you use your phone. Every time you check your messages, every time you open an app, you're seeing English. Change one social media account to English. Maybe Instagram or YouTube or whatever platform you use most. Start following a few accounts that post in English about topics you're interested in. This means that when you scroll through your feed, something you probably do anyway, you're seeing English content mixed in with your native language content. Put sticky notes around your house with English words for common objects. You don't need to do your whole house. Just a few key items. The mirror in your bathroom, the coffee maker in your kitchen, the door, the light switch. Every time you see these objects, you'll see the English word, and slowly, without trying, your brain will start associating the object with the English word automatically. If you listen to music, add some English songs to your playlists. Not just English learning songs, but real music that English speakers listen to, music you actually enjoy. You won't understand all the lyrics at first. That's okay. But you'll be hearing English pronunciation, English rhythm, English feeling. And gradually you'll start catching words, then phrases, then whole sections of lyrics. These environmental changes work because they're always there. You don't have to remember to study. You don't have to set aside time. The English is just there naturally as part of your regular life. And that constant, gentle exposure accumulates in ways that are hard to measure day by day but become obvious over time. Dealing with difficult days. Before we end, I need to talk about something real. Some days you won't want to practice English. Some days you'll be too tired, too busy, too stressed, or too unmotivated. And that's not just okay, it's normal. It's part of being human. The worst thing you can do on those days is feel guilty. Guilt doesn't help you learn. It just makes you feel bad, and feeling bad makes it less likely you'll practice tomorrow. So let's make a deal. On the difficult days, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to narrate your morning routine or review your day or study vocabulary. You don't have to do anything that feels like work. But maybe, just maybe, you can do one tiny thing. Say one sentence in English, just one. "I'm tired today." That's it. That counts. You engaged with English, you kept the connection alive, and tomorrow when you have more energy, it'll be easier to do more because you didn't completely stop. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is continuation. It's about keeping English present in your life, even in a very small way, so that it never becomes something you used to do, but is always something you're doing, even if some days you're doing it minimally. Moving forward, your action plan. Let me bring everything together now and give you a clear, simple action plan you can start using tomorrow. I'm going to make this as simple as possible because I want you to actually do it, and simple is always more doable than complicated. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, say one sentence in English about how you feel. That's action one. Simple. At some point during your day, it could be morning, lunch, or evening. Describe one thing you're doing in English. I'm eating lunch. I'm working. I'm walking. One present continuous sentence. That's action two. Before you go to bed, say three things about your day in English, past tense sentences. I worked today, I was busy, I'm tired now. That's action three. These three actions will take you less than 2 minutes total throughout your entire day. 2 minutes to start building this habit of living with English, not just studying it. And here's what I want you to notice. I'm not asking you to understand complex grammar. I'm not asking you to memorize vocabulary lists. I'm not asking you to watch English videos or listen to podcasts or read articles. Those things are valuable, and you can add them if you want, but they're not part of the minimum action plan. The minimum plan is just about speaking English about your real life, in real moments. That's it. And if you do just these three small actions every day, you'll be amazed at what changes over time. Final thoughts. The journey continues. We've covered a lot today, and I want to thank you for staying with me through this whole conversation. I know that's not easy, especially if you're listening in English and English isn't your first language yet. The fact that you're here, that you listened, that you're trying, that matters so much. Thank you for being here with me today. Until next time, keep going, keep trying, and remember, every small action counts. You're doing better than you think you are. This is James. Take care, and I'll talk with you again soon.